Today's video, ranking every Kirby game only by their first stage. I'm talking Green Gardens, Cookie Country, Natural Plains, Vegetable Valley, and more. The purpose of this video is to see if first impressions are correct, and if I'm wrong, comment down below. Alright, there's nothing more to be said.
So let's just jump into it.
First runner-up is Kirby's Dream Land, and without even playing the game, I can tell you this goes hard. Reason I know this is because I had attempted to play every Kirby game and review each of them for a YouTube video, but halfway into Kirby's Adventure, I literally fell asleep. The early Kirby games are much more difficult than the new, and with this game, I can affirm that this is definitely above C tier. Its first level is Green Greens, except it's not green at all. I mean, maybe it is on the Game Boy screen, but you get what I'm saying. The graphics are horrible. It's almost like we're playing on a Game Boy back in the 1980s or something. Despite that though, the design of Green Greens is actually kind of easing and simplistic. I like it. This level is filled with all kinds of enemies and it does not discriminate. We can suck birds, waddle dees, flies, mushroom heads, and bomb people. I had a joke in mind, but my lawyers advised me not to say it. It's kind of funny how older games have more diversity than the newer ones. Something about this level that really puts it up on the list is that halfway in, we get a mini boss battle against a big bomb bro, and then at the very end of the level, we get Wispy Woods. You see, nowadays, Kirby levels are long and repetitive, but back then, everything was perfect. Just like this level, things were short, simple, difficult, and original. And for those reasons, I'm leaving this game in low A tier. If this level were to be remade with better graphics and, had copy abilities and also better controls, it would definitely be S tier. But because it's on a Game Boy and looks like this, it will remain here. Next up is Kirby's Adventure. How can you say "and presto" while displaying tons more you have to draw? Okay, I don't know how to draw this stuff. As you can see, my 26% completed file is still there, and no, I will probably never finish it. Level 1 is Vegetable Valley, where, what? This is World 1, not level. Alright, well, whatever. We're here, and oddly enough, the music doesn't change when you enter the level, finally. Some color. Here we have some beautiful clouds over some trees, a big open lake, and really green grass. In comparison to the last game, this looks perfect. And what's that? We also have abilities now. Unfortunately, our abilities don't change our appearance, nor is there more than one attack, but something is something. As I continued on, I noticed the level design isn't really that good. It's mainly just flat land with maybe a couple hills. 2 minutes into the level, I entered this room, and yeah, that was it. What the? Second place? Dude, I literally pressed A on the perfect spot. How could you do that? You know what? Let me just move this here. Okay, actually, you know what? Ah, yes, right here. Ugh, not this ugly screen again. Kirby's Dream Land 2. Let's see how this goes. At first when I landed here, I thought this was the level and that I'd die if I dropped off. However, nothing happened, so I checked below and I realized that it was the world map. Considering the last game was amazing, this one better be good. Okay, how does one go from this beautiful grass texture to this? Like go back to the world layout, level layout. This is so confusing. Why would they do that? Hey, they have powers in this one. I didn't even know the Game Boy was capable of that. Once again, the level is a breeze. Kinda boring. Ugly texture, no difficulty, not lengthy like the first game. I give it a D tier. It wasn't too bad, but it wasn't good in the slightest. Now for the SNES. I expect this one to be good. Wow. Beautiful art style, vast colors, and oh no, these controls, they suck. These controls are pathetic, okay? I don't know if it's just me, but the movement feels very slow. That could just be input lag, but it definitely throws this down the list. C tier. Genuinely, it looks amazing, especially for its time, but the controls and the lame level design just make it kind of boring. This game was the first 3D title in the entire series, and it did not disappoint. Before the title screen, we get a cutscene showing the lore of the crystal shards, and once we're in, we get even more lore. We meet a new friend, let's call her Fairy Girl, and without even uttering a sentence, they communicated and understood each other. The first level is Pop Star, and once again, the game mixes level and world. I'm getting sick and tired of this, man. Stage 1 begins, and I guess it looks good. The move controls only being the D-pad does kind of suck, and the slow feel of it, which is probably input lag, doesn't really help it that much either. For the first 3D Kirby to exist, the level design is actually pretty nice. Lots of enemies are spawned in the beginning area, which is probably so that you can practice your copy ability. Speaking of that, we can now mix and match different copy abilities. I mixed fire and cutter and was given a giant fire sword. How that makes sense, I don't know, but I'm not complaining. This is pretty cool. The way he whips it around his body like a force field is just kind of satisfying. Dude, look at his face as he just holds his sword. The rest of the level is just a bunch of enemies, but once we get to the end, there's a mini boss fight. A Waddle Dee is absorbed and possessed by dark matter, and it's up to us to spam fireworks at it repeatedly. That was it. The last thing to do for the level is to get your reward, but honestly, I don't understand how this works, and I ended up getting nothing. Look what you did, game. You made Kirby cry. For the ranking, I'd say this was a pretty good level. It was short and it wasn't really that good in level design, but its structure was meant for practicing the copy ability, which I did, and I had some fun. I give it a high A tier. The only reason it's A and not S is because of its controls. Next is...
Alright, dude. What the flip?
The next game is Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. Oh, okay, we have lore now. Meta Knight splits Kirby in 4. Bro, you can't just copy Zelda like that. I noticed they had mini games, so before heading into the game, I decided to try them out. Speed Eaters is a game where you just have to react fast and press A whenever the lid is removed. And look at that, I won. Crackety Hack is a game where you hit a rock and try to crack the furthest into the ground. I skipped over the controls for this and I ended up losing twice. The last minigame was Kirby Wave Ride. This one was actually the funnest and I ended up playing it multiple times until I ultimately won by just a smidge. Without even playing the game, this is an S tier. There's no more needed. We don't even have to play. Okay, but we will just to check. Oh. For once, the first level isn't green. And the controls, the controls are so swift.
Pause! What is that?
For the first time, abilities change your appearance. Something else new about abilities is that now we have a move set for each of them. After strolling along the clouds, we actually reach the first level here. This level is somewhat of a breeze, and I kind of just used the new Cupid power up to fly by the level. You know, I'm sorry, but dude, it was just kind of cool. The level design isn't too bad, but there's not much here, especially considering the swift movement that makes everything go by like nothing. I was literally speed running the game. Honestly, this game is just like the mirror. It's amazing. Okay, maybe that was a bad joke. The controls, the music, the graphics, the colors, the designs of everything, it just fits. It's nice. This is a high S tier. You know, I kind of wonder if we'll see anything else up here, and will it combat this? Now that we're done with that, I can finally stop using Nintendo Switch Online and go to, original hardware. Kirby Canvas Curse. Ugh. I don't even want to talk about this one. The game's storytelling is a long piece of scrolling text, and it is shown before the title screen, making it completely optional. After making a new file, I was immediately sent into Plant Plane. I had a feeling it'd be stylus only when the text said that he turned into a ball, and I'm not disappointed, but I'm just not satisfied. To maneuver, you have to draw a path for Kirby to follow, and by tapping him, you can boost into enemies. I quickly beat the level, and I don't even want to talk about the level design, since the entire design of the game is just garbage. Immediate F tier. After the prior incident, I expected Kirby Squeak Squad to be touchscreen as well, but alas, I was wrong. Turns out it's both. The startup has touchscreen available, but the rest of the game is all buttons. After starting a file, the story is explained through slow animation and a ton of text. It's lame, but it's still better than Canvas Curse. It takes Kirby like 10 seconds to react to his food being stolen, and honestly, I just find that so stupid. Like, I'm nitpicking, but bro, it's like, time to dig in. Whoa, the cake Kirby was about to eat has suddenly vanished. Like bro, that's not sudden. For the gameplay, controls are completely normal and working as usual. However, the level design sucks. The level is almost completely empty and we really don't do anything. There's a few enemies here and there, but absolutely nothing highlights the level. It's just boring. I'd put it in F tier, but Canvas Curse is in there. So let's just put it in D. Kirby's Epic Yarn. My ranking for this one might be a bit biased because this was the Kirby game that I grew up with and, you know, I ended up beating it with my sister, but I will only be judging it off of what we were given in the beginning. The art style of this game is pretty unique. Instead of the classic Kirby game, everything has turned into yarn. The first thing to take notice of is that the music of this game is definitely not the kind to excite you. It genuinely makes me want to go to bed. In fact, I will probably play a song that is not in this game just to make sure that I'm not boring you. For the lore, we're actually given a narrator this time.
One day, Kirby saw his favorite food, a bright red tomato, on top of a bush, down the hatch. But when Kirby tried to eat it, a caped sorcerer appeared. My name is...
What are you doing? Stop that! Who said stop, bastard bitch? Stop tickling me!
Into the tutorial level.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Bro, I'm falling asleep. Kirby actually has a ton of new abilities now. He can pull things off with his yarn whip, flip inside these house thingies, transform into a parachute and stay afloat, and he can swing on buttons like a bell. The tutorial level ended, but it wasn't named Stage 1-1, so I continued on. Before making it to the first level, we're given an apartment and can actually place a bunch of furniture here. Decorating this place was one of my favorite time wasters as a kid, but since we're judging primarily on the beginning, we can't use this piece of information since, you know, we hardly have any unique furniture. To be genuinely honest, the first half of this level is super boring. The music, the level design, and the enemies are all so bland, it just feels unimportant. When we get to the Mega Mech, it's still all pretty easy, although whenever I got hit, I lost my stars and I didn't want to lose them, so I tried my best to avoid rockets, which finally added a little bit of challenge to the game. At the end of the level, you have to try and stop the wheel at the color with the most stars, and as you can see, a professional like me, obviously... What? Nah, I'm just kidding. I'll put it in C tier. This next Kirby game was actually my first Kirby game, and man, is it still amazing. Immediate S tier. No need to even play it. But of course, we still will. The story introduction for this game is actually better than any other seen on the DS. It has actual cutscenes, and the lore is pretty good. Necrudius split Kirby in 10 to make it easier to beat him, and just as Kirby was at his last copy, a light star from Kirby's own heart shot out into the sky and guided his copy. The whole reason his heart comes out in the form of a star is just so that when you use the stylus to move the characters, the game has a symbol to show for that. But, you know, it's still pretty cool. To control Kirby, you have to use the touchscreen, but at least it's not drawing lines. It's just guiding where to go. Tapping fast makes Kirby run towards the star, holding on Kirby and then drawing a line magically drags Kirby up places, and flicking Kirby causes him to get tossed into things at full force, breaking objects when needed. Oh yeah, you can also tap enemies and Kirby will just go over and beat the balls out of them. And when you have multiple, you can literally gangbang them until they suffocate and die. The level design is great. There are collectible medallions hidden around the level, and the main goal of the game is to unlock as many copies of yourself as you can by hitting 100 on the food meter. Because of this, there are many things to do in each level whenever in need of more copies, and copies also make things more challenging since you have to try and keep them all alive. Also, the more Kirbys you have, the easier it is to pull things. As I said before, this this game is an S tier. Am I blinded by nostalgia? Maybe, but all these online reviews agree with me, so I don't want to hear it. For Return to Dreamland, yes, I will be playing the updated remaster. You know, it's just like, why not? Okay, the game looks absolutely gorgeous, and it's just about the same anyway. For the storytelling, I don't really like the page format they use, but other than that, it's fine. Some magical thing flies in the sky and then it blows up and crashes. You know, it's okay. For the first level, the design is fine, but dude, the enemies suck. Okay, remember how I said Kirby's Dream Land had more diversity than the later games? Well, just look at how many Waddle Dees I encounter in comparison to any other enemy. You know, luckily, the game becomes more diverse as we enter the cave. Okay, maybe it doesn't. Exiting the cave, we encounter a Star Swordsman, and when we take his ability, we are granted a Super Sword. It could transform into a giant form of weaponry and smash everything in its slash. It looks cool, but truthfully, it just makes everything easy. Immediately after, we enter this second dimension where Goop chases after you. It's meant to cause distress, but when I actually checked to see if it would kill me, I noticed it slows down as I got closer to it. Pretty lame. Something even more lame is that all the enemies in this dimension are just Waddle Dees ranging in different sizes. Yikes. The dimension ends with a boss fight for 2 gear collectibles, but it's so easy it hardly matters. Right after this, the level ends, and to get the reward, I just have to bounce off at the perfect time, just like an adventure. What? I actually did it? Nah, just kidding. I'll give it a high B tier for having good graphics, but the game is a big L for having boring music, boring enemies, and simple puzzles. Since I don't have a 3DS with a capture card installed, I recorded my gameplay for Kirby Triple Deluxe on a tripod, but because I'm not 9 anymore, I'm just gonna be using footage I found from online. In comparison to the previous games, this one takes the cake. It has everything and more that you could have asked for. However, this isn't really displayable from just the first level. Although, once you get the Supernova ability and start sucking up everything, pause, you can see that this is one of those Kirby games with very good gimmick quality. None of that stylus garbage. The hidden keychains and puzzles that are used to acquire some sense of challenge and meaning work quite well, filling at least this game's first level with enough to do so. The sound effects and music are elevating and intriguing, and to be honest, I kind of expected less from a first level. With that said, this game also takes the cake and is also S tier, right behind Mass Attack. So for this next game, I actually sold my copy. To be honest, it's because I played the first level like 3 years ago and it was just garbage. Dude, the lowest of F tier. Canvas Curse can stay in front of it because at the very least, Canvas Curse was made in a time where the touchpad was kinda cool. Next up is Planet Robobot, and this one's pretty interesting. It was released during the very end of the 3DS era, and its visuals do tell. It looks like Nintendo made a 1080p cutscene and just decided to play it as a video clip in the 3DS. Yeah, very nice. Area 1 is patched plains, and Stage 1 is Stage 1. Its design is certainly different. You know, it looks like they're aiming for a futuristic or technological look. Even the flowers are robotic. The level design for the start is very basic instruction, but once again, halfway in, the excitement happens. We're thrown into a fight against wispy metal, shooting missiles and chasing us down. It looks like we were meant to flee and escape, because after this we're rewarded with a Rubik's Cube. However, after that, that's it. It's over. That was the first level, and we never actually became the Robobot. You know, that's pretty sad. For this title, specifically for the first level as well, I'll put it in B tier. It's comparable to Triple Deluxe, but the music just isn't as good and the first level just isn't as engaging. Also, there was no gimmick showcase, which, you know, I guess is good since the player doesn't get everything all at once to then be bored, but since I'm reviewing this off the first level, it's just kind of boring. Kirby Star Allies. Yet again, we have another childhood game. Well, kind of. I was 11 to 12. Wait a minute, I was what? Dang, this game is old. Or am I just young? I don't know. Just from the title screen, the game is beautiful. Just look at it. Starting a new file now.
Ooh, a fresh pie? Save me a slice. That's good. Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's... Alright, that's good. Okay. Alright, okay, alright. Okay, that's good. That's good. It's enough slices!
Okay, finally it's over, and now we can get to the lore. Wow, the cutscenes are so beautiful. It's almost perfect graphically. Dude, the music is intriguing and powerful, and it's so elegant on the ears. And Kirby's looking so crisp. Now we're in the world map, and after everything I just said, it kind of looks garbage now. I'm not complaining though, let's just get into the game. This game is so pretty. The gimmick this time around is making friends. You can shoot love hearts into an enemy and make them a friend, which is pretty useful for when you don't want to do certain things. The collectibles are puzzle pieces used to unlock drawings, and while I admit it's kind of useless, it is pretty fun trying to find all of these. Besides that though, another new thing is the addition of combination abilities. You can use elemental friends to apply their element to your ability, and as far as I can tell, this results in fire, ice, or electric weapons. The game also actually uses the gimmick, giving you multiple giant bombs to light on fire while using both sword and firepower. Soon after, I made it to a boss battle with Mr. Frosty. Now, you already know how I feel about these, okay? I love boss battles. This one specifically gives you an element to use in finding puzzle pieces later, so it gets even more brownie points. After this, we're pretty much done. Now to end it off. Wait a second. Didn't I use this joke already? Whatever. Truthfully, I give this game a high A tier. It has beautiful graphics, a long first level full of content, good abilities, combo abilities, nice little gimmicks here and there, and it also has puzzle pieces as good collectibles. Now, for the final entry. As you can see, I played this game already. 32% of it apparently. This game has two difficulties, Spring Breeze mode and Wild mode. Wild mode is supposedly more challenging, but this is a Kirby game we're talking about. When the first cutscene played, I was once again astonished by the beautiful visuals and animation. I don't know how they do it, but man, it looks so good. The music is so thrilling. And what is Kirby's face? Like Mario Odyssey, we get the face plant into the ground and a subtle, where am I? The beginning part is quite boring. It's just kind of quiet and nothing's really going on. I get they're going for mystery, but it's just not intriguing. After a bit more traversing, the game transitions into the actual level, but this still feels boring. Subconsciously, I breeze through until getting into the car cutscene. Once I made it to the bridge, the game went into an introduction cutscene. Okay bro, this isn't an anime. Once the anime opening was over, we were once again given a 4K cutscene of a blue animal being captured by foxes and crows. There was a short brawl here against a few foxes, but just a couple bombs got the job done. Finally, we can play the first level. The level starts off in a big open area with wild enemies. From the start, there are certain objectives you can do to free more Waddle Dees, such as touching red flowers. This is certainly better than any previous game, as looking around to complete any objective makes each level longer and makes you go deeper into thought. Soon after, the game introduces another big transformation, a vending machine. You can shoot soda cans out of your mouth, and this can attack enemies and break barriers in your path. A simple concept, but it was also hardly used. You spend time passing by and beating up enemies until reaching the second transformation, the cone. With this cone, you can smash the ground in areas marked with cracks. It's a neat little mechanic, but after a few ground pounds, it just gets tiring. After that, all I could think was that the game just kinda sucks. You know, sure there are enemies, but it just kinda feels like I'm sightseeing. Before the end, we're given a boss fight against Wild Edge. Because of this, I started violently edging and I beat him at his own game, and now I feel satisfied. Or should I say, almost to climax. Okay, once you relocate, you basically spend the rest of the level getting up to the end. The game is so easy that there was just no thought behind what I did, and each puzzle was just simple. I completed the level, and now I know where to rank this game. C tier. Now listen, okay, I know this is an innovative Kirby experience, but nah, man. Honestly, the game is full of content, and the levels are massive. However, the boring music, the lack of sound effects, and the very low difficulty, despite being in mild mode, made it quite boring. The game would be amazing as a difficult game, but because it's more of a cakewalk with optional quests to do, it's kind of just useless and lame. No baloney, it looks amazing, feels amazing, and is full of many things, but even with that, it's boring. Maybe it's just the sleepy music and sound effects, but something was off. Just listen to the sounds after I completed the first level. It's literally like they wanted me to fall asleep. And with that, this is the final ranking. What do you think? Should I move some things? Should I put every game in mid? Comment down below. If you ask me, I'd definitely play Mass Attack over any of these, and also Triple Deluxe. You know, maybe Planet Robobot got disrespected, but that's just because the Robobot wasn't in stage 1. Now I'm done. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.